Hilarious. SNP bite more than they could chew turned clown after Ian Blackford's rant backfired. The SNP could become mired in a scandal of its own making after Ian Blackford's furious attack on the government backfired. The Scottish Nationalist Party's Westminster leader was accused of hypocrisy after he attacked Boris Johnson's party over its record on raw sewage seeping into English rivers. Nicola Sturgeon's right-hand man in London was one of several opposition leaders to take aim at the Prime Minister over the issue. Last month the government performed a partial U-turn on the issue after the Environment Agency said that there were 403,171 spills of sewage into England's rivers and seas in 2020. Under the change, water companies will be forced to show a reduction in sewage overspills over the next 5 years. Reacting to the news, Mr. Blackford tweeted that England's rivers are flowing with sewage. While the MP for Ross, Skye and Loch Harbour was quick to highlight England's poor record, he was far quieter on Scotland's standing on the issue. It has since emerged that Quango Scottish Water has an unacceptably high number of leaks. Figures obtained by the Scottish Lib Dems showed that in 2020 there were a total of 12,725 spill events, up 40% on 2016. This issue is so bad that the Scottish Environment Protection Agency, SEPA, are said to be hesitant to review Scottish Water's operating licences in bulk over fears the watchdog's enforcement had not been strong enough. The party has called on Environment Minister Mary McCallan MSP to explain 12,000 sewage leaks in a parliamentary statement. Scottish Lib Dems climate emergency spokesman Liam MacArthur MSP told the Scottish Daily Express, just days after SNP MPs lambasted the UK government for voting to allow raw sewage into rivers, it emerges that their Scottish government has a very smelly problem of its own. Neither the SNP nor the Conservatives can be trusted with Scotland's waterways. It's particularly troubling that the environment watchdog's first concern wasn't for the health of our streams, rivers and communities but for their own reputation. The Environment Minister should come to Parliament to deliver a statement on what is being done to clear up this sewage leak crisis. The Scottish Government said it took the sewage spill issue very seriously and insisted Scotland was renowned worldwide for the environmental quality of its waters. A spokeswoman said, since 2015 Scottish Water has invested over £245 million to address 117 unsatisfactory sewer overflows. Overflows are designed to prevent flooding and backing up into houses and businesses during heavy rainfall. That heavy rainfall is likely to increase as a result of climate change and we are working to make sure infrastructure can cope, including through ongoing and increased investment. Scotland is renowned worldwide for the environmental quality of our rivers, lochs and seas, and the Scottish Environment Protection Agency, SEPA, classifies 87% of our water bodies as having good water quality. In another news, SNP Foreign Affairs spokesperson Alan Smith appeared on BBC Politics Live and said a review needed to be put in place to regulate M.P.'s outside interests, adding there was a cesspit in Westminster that needed to be drained. But Mr. Smith was confronted with SNP Commons leader Ian Blackford's own outside interests which found he earned £38,000 for only 32 hours of work. Mr. Smith accused Joe Coburn of whataboutery and said Mr. Blackford was a successful businessman who was re-elected and had nothing in common with Geoffrey Cox. Mr. Blackford was exposed after it was revealed he was being paid for outside work alongside his main MP role despite calling for a review into politicians' second jobs. The SNP leader said he entered Parliament with a number of non-executive directorships and said he had to complete them. He told ITV, "The key thing is what Parliament needs to do is deal with the sleaze and corruption that comes from the Conservative government. What you saw with Owen Paterson is someone who is being remunerated for lobbying government. He was a paid lobbyist, which is outlawed. It cannot take place." Appearing on BBC Politics Live, the panel discussed Labour's plan to force a vote banning MPs from taking on consultancy work following the Geoffrey Cox revelation. Mr. Smith said could not comment on it until he saw what the vote actually involved but said definitely there should be no paid outside interests. The SNP politician explained the scope of outside interests was too wide and so there needed to be a proper debate and scrutiny over what the rules are. It was revealed Geoffrey Cox earned almost £1 million through legal work for companies in the British Virgin Islands. During the lockdown, Mr. Cox used lockdown proxy voting to move to the Caribbean where he continued his outside work there while voting in the House of Commons thousands of miles away. Mr. Cox has been paid almost £900,000 by a law firm with us over the past year and has been paid a further £130,000 for other legal work.